Hello everyone, I'm Santiago and today I'm going to be playing Halo Campaign Evolved on the Steam Deck thanks to Xbox for providing a code of the game. So this has been interesting because Halo Campaign Evolved is a UE5 game. It's weird to say Halo and UE5 on the same sentence, but here we are. And being verified before release is a little bit sus, especially on a UE5 game, of all things. Okay, minimum frame rate 30, so this is dynamic resolution probably. While experiencing poor performance, adjustments to render resolution are automatically made. So by default, it has dynamic resolution on. Okay. Resolution scale 100, but it's going to change. Very low on everything, as expected. Screen shake and motion blur, less than enough motion blur. TSR low, plus dynamic resolution on top of it. That's freaking beautiful. I love UE5 on Steam Deck. Ultra performance upscaling by default. Oops. Oh, okay, there's no bullet penetration, obviously. But these two atoms. It's a UE5 game, looks good, but yeah. I mean, it looks like yet another UE5 game. And I mean, that's okay, but it's feeling a little bit samey to me. I played a shit ton of UE5 games. And you can clearly notice it's trying to do a little bit different when it comes to the art style, but it's still, when you look at the materials and the indirect lighting, there's something about it that screams UE5. We'll see once we're outside. Outside is usually more obvious than indoors when it comes to that sort of thing.
Are you all right?
Okay, I'm finally outside.
The others.
There's no grass, so that was on point with you guys saying on the lowest settings there's probably no grass. No, it's a flat texture. Now in handheld mode settings, basically no dynamic res, it's locked to 60% just to be able to have a decent resolution across the board. Otherwise it goes up and down way too much. Unfortunately, like in the default settings, everything is on the absolute lowest, and if you want grass, we're going to discuss grass later. Go from very low to low, but it's going to affect performance quite significantly. Then TSR, the upscaling quality does nothing, unfortunately. Asynchronous compute, I used to have it on, but I recommend disabling it for CPU reasons. And the low latency mode, it just goes as down as default, so I'll keep it like this. So what does this give us? Well, basically 30 FPS as a target. Remember that this is an Unreal Engine 5 game at the end of the day, so I'm not surprised in the least. You could even put 50% when it comes to resolution, or the dynamic resolution targeting 30, but it's way too erratic when it comes to dynamic resolution, unfortunately, because when the CPU gets crushed, the GPU doesn't get enough juice to increase the frequency, and that leaves us with more stuttering and drops in performance. You could lock the GPU clock to 1400 maybe, but that'll give you stutters when traversing, so really not much that you can do about it, especially when there's more than 5 enemies on screen fighting with your NPCs. Luckily it stabilizes rather quickly as soon as you start killing enemies, but still. What I have to give props to Valve though is that the default settings are the same settings that I'm using right now. I just disabled dynamic res and kept the settings the same. Again, you could go and increase the resolution a little bit or increase the grass, but it really does have a big impact in performance. So if it's verified or not, really up to you. To Valve it is because, well, it runs okay with the default settings, but runs decent on the default settings is really subjective. They're not being 100% clear, oh, this is 30 FPS, this is 540p. They're saying performs well on Steam Deck, so what that's exactly, I don't know. Most UE5 games are honestly terrified, not verified. This one I think is more on the playable side, not the verified. Verified is not a bit of a stretch, it's a freaking stretch. I mean, it's okay, it's playable, you lose the grass, that again we're going to see in a moment. You lose any capacity to be above 30 FPS across the board. So there's not really great performance to begin with. It's okay, it's playable. I wouldn't say, again, verified. Verified is a stretch. But if you want to enable grass and all that stuff, maybe play on the ROG Ally X. I'll have a video done for that one soon. That's way more capable, obviously. And considering the price of the Steam Deck right now, it actually makes a lot of sense. So yeah, as you can see, it's playable, but it's borderline. One of the biggest limitations that I was not exactly expecting is the CPU. That's usually what happens. But in this case, it surprised me because it's not like it's doing anything particularly different from baseline Combat Evolved. Yeah, bigger maps, better graphics, ray tracing, whatever. But I was expecting more of a GPU hit than a CPU hit. The thing here is that the indirect lighting, being such a low resolution that we have here, the indirect lighting is pretty grainy. Yeah, you can notice it here when traversing. The draw distance of the GI, the global illumination, is pretty short. And at the same time, yeah, there, it kind of flickers because the amount of samples that we have is very low. So yeah, that's another sacrifice. So let's very quickly take a look at a different map. Alright, so now we're in a different map, and this one has a lot more grass. So if you enable grass on this one, you'll lose like 12 frames. And it's unfortunate because it's very flat. Otherwise, I mean, look at this. There should be foliage everywhere. I'm going to do a quick side-by-side in a few minutes so you can see it. But this one has a good amount of combat in comparison to the previous part. So let's go. Hop on. We'll leave him behind, that's okay. But again, here it kills the visuals. Personally, I really don't see the point of playing this over the original. Or at least, better said, over the Master Chief Collection version. Yeah, it has better graphics, but without grass, it loses its touch. I wish there was an in-between setting. Maybe instead of very low being no grass, maybe some grass that it pops up in front of you even. I wouldn't mind. Some of it. I'm not asking for much. Because when you put it on low, yeah, it does have grass, but at the same time, the draw distance of the grass is very, very large in comparison to no grass. It's like you have grass 100 meters away, and on low, you have no grass whatsoever. Okay, so now we have the best part of the video, grass versus no grass. So this is what it looks like on the settings that I showed you at 41 frames standing right here. Then when you enable geometry from very low to low, you get this. Whoa! I think I don't have to describe the difference, but it's pretty obvious. So what I was saying that on the video is that, again, this is just a difference between very low geometry and low. Very low has no grass at all. Low has grass up to up there, very far into the distance, even extra foliage in the background, if you can see over there. So again, there's no in between. What would be the best solution in my opinion? Well, maybe the grass, put it up to this distance, maybe, instead of being the entire thing, just up to this hill, a few meters in front of you. Maybe it's popping up as you are advancing. Yeah, I know, LODs, right? Draw distance. Just adding that. It also changes the ground. It seems to be using parallax, or maybe tessellation, more tessellation on the ground. But I think it's, again, pretty obvious. If there was an in-between setting, maybe very low, again, had grass, maybe up to this distance, I think it would be a good in-between, because the frame rate difference, 41 versus 34. So yeah, the Steam Deck cannot really handle this because it also affects the geometry in general. As you can see, the rocks are way more detailed. The trees as well. Plus, obviously, all the stuff in front of me. But it's crazy. It's freaking crazy difference for one setting. But unfortunately, we don't have the horsepower to handle this on the Steam Deck, at least. So thanks again for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did bringing it to your attention. Grassgate is real, and I'll see ya next time. Bye, guys. Thanks for watching.